surprised. They knew it was a cat as soon as he tried to give the cat, because what he did was he tried to put the cat, so you know the crate that you put a cat in? He had the crate, but he had wrapped it, and he had put the little, like, slits for, you know, the front for air in the thing. But as he's handing her this thing that's way too heavy, he's handing it like this, and inside she can hear, like it's... The cat isn't meowing. The cat is screaming. It's guttural. It's coming from the back of the throat. And then she rips the wrapping paper out of the way. And the cat is like, and then she's like, oh, you got me a kitten, right? As soon as she opens the front, the cat, this cat was amazing, by the way, because it both had agility, but also the most mass I've seen on a cat. This is the fattest cat I've ever seen, but the way that it flew out of the crate past her and was just running in the house, just like... And she's like, oh, you got me a cat, oh my gosh. And then she went to try to pick the cat up, and the cat, okay, for a little while, I didn't believe it was a cat. For a little while, I thought it was either like an actual, like, bobcat from the wild or a demon. Because the way that she went to pick it up, and then it stood up and was like... It did, like, it was ready to put his paws on her. Like, this cat, like, it couldn't, I'm not saying it boxed, but I'm just saying, like, the way it would, like, almost stand, it would get really high, and then it would let that first one come up. And this cat hated everyone and everything. And I was like, did you get the cat from, like, a shelter, or where'd you get the cat? And he was like, okay, look. Which is never a good pet origin story. He's like, okay, look, the cat crawled up into the hood of my car. It was cold, it wanted to be warm, and so it crawled up. And then when I was pulling the cat out, it just kept coming out. There was so much cat, because it's the biggest cat any of us have ever seen. I was like, it looked like a lion. Like, you can't just give someone a pet like that. A plant, I feel bad enough letting it die. You can't let an animal die. You can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't even meet this one. It shouldn't even be on me because it was a gift. That sounds so crazy, but it's true. It's like, you've just given this person duties now. And not a lot of duties. The cat was very fat and it was clearly a street cat, so it knows how to survive.
It doesn't take much to go from calm to chaos. But when life happens, with next-gen Nuvella Performance Fabric, even the most stubborn stains come out without a struggle. Shop next-gen Nuvella styles in-store and online.
I don't know if y'all saw, but a lot of the Amazon workers went on strike today. Like, a bunch of them went on strike, yeah. Which I think is phenomenal, not just for workers' rights, but because I low-key have not got anybody anything yet. And, like, that's... Ooh-wee. When I was like, hey, yeah, give them whatever they want, all right? They should stay out there till January 2nd or something. Genuinely, I was like, oh, man, okay, and then that means that things won't get delivered on.
Hey,
we serve a mighty God.
We serve. I'll be back I'm done at 11:45, and then I'll be back.
But yeah, the Amazon workers are striking. It's one of the biggest strikes against Amazon.
I'm doing something.
I think
Yes, I'll be ready. Yes, I'll be ready. Bye.
Against Amazon in different places and everything. And it's coming at a time where Amazon needs them desperately. The rest of the year, you can kind of, shirk them off. But this is Amazon promised us Christmas. I hate to burst your bubble in case you still believe, but there is no Santa. Santa is whoever is driving that Amazon truck. And Amazon made a promise. They made a promise through Prime. They made a promise through pre-orders. And, you know, why their reputation stakes on delivering on that promise. And so if the workers strike and they can't get things to the people, maybe the people are like, wow, I put a lot of stake in you, Amazon. Maybe I'm just gonna go to Target next time. But Amazon, they claim not to have it. They claim that they don't have the money. If it's laughable to you, then imagine if you work at Amazon and you just looking around like, oh, so y'all don't have it. The boss went to space. Tell me what you don't have again. Oh, we don't have it. We're not able. We need too many people working at the same time at a pace that's unrealistic because we tried to replace you with robots, but then, the robots killed themselves. Dude, everybody forgets about that. Everybody forgets that when they've tried AI, they've tried to replace the workers in their faces, and the AI, the robot, whatever it is like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna break forever. The robot will do everything except hit itself in the head. That's wild. That's so crazy that you would just tell us you don't even have. That's one of the main things I can't stand about a lot of big companies. And don't get me wrong, right? In the future, you may even see me do like a partnership with a brand that I like. I'm not saying business in and of itself is evil. I'm not saying big business in and of itself has to be evil. I'm just saying the way that some of the most profitable companies in the world have worked is evil, right? And so my thing, especially with Amazon, is that there's always, for you, the customer, there's always surge pricing. There's never, across any company that I know of, outside of overtime, surge pay. That's all you need. If you had just been like, listen, for 3 months, working at Amazon is gonna be the most profitable. It's gonna be the most profitable thing an employee can do. We're gonna pay you 2x, 3x, whatever it takes. We also know how much money they made because they tell us. Why would you do that? Why would you go on the news, by the way, to be like, Amazon made a record-breaking whatever billion today on Prime Day, and then tell the people that work there, y'all, we ain't got it. The boss needs to go to space again. No, it's insane. Because it wouldn't do, I don't know, it wouldn't do what companies claim it would do, to pay more, if nothing else, during the seasons that you're asking them to work more. And we can't even begin to fathom the conditions all around that are like in an Amazon warehouse. We hear about them from time to time. People get fired, or they get hurt, or they quit, and then they tell us. And it never gets like fully enveloped all together. One, because there's not enough time. Too many people have been screwed over. It's like, we all know somebody who dated somebody that was like trash, right? Like they dated a bad person.
This is not
After like the third testimony of dating this person, you're like, I don't even need to hear anymore. This person is undateable. They shouldn't be out. You know, and that's what it should be like with Amazon, but it's like the stories don't get to enough people, and there are people that are like, oh, I got docked pay for going to the bathroom. What they want me to do, you know? Or I got hurt at the warehouse because everybody's trying to meet these like specific time-stamped goals, and if they don't meet them, they might get fired, and this is the job that they have. This is how they're gonna pay their rent for the time being to make ends meet, so they're pushing the cart extra fast, not looking where they're going. They run over somebody's foot, they drop a box on somebody's head, and then there's a whole system in place. Instead of making a system to make it safer, instead of making a system to pay people more, or instead of making a system that just functions better, there's a whole system in place for when things go wrong. So that way, they don't have to pay people out, or they don't have to. You would rather hire a lawyer to come up with a type of NDA that when someone dies at work, their family can't sue, than to just do things the right way, you know? Because we've decided that it's like more profitable to be a bastard. I mean, but like, and I guess my thing is this: at a certain point, the fact that it like no money is enough, right? The fact that there's no number, you can't get higher than space. Do you know what I mean? The man has been to space. There's nowhere else to go because he's not going to heaven. There's no more. You have enough money. I'm not even saying that as someone, look, I'll be honest with you, I'll be very honest with you right now. I would like to, in my lifetime, make a lot of money. I have no gripe with people who have a lot of money. It's only the way in which they make that money. That's all that ever bothers me when it does bother me. I usually don't care how much money anybody has. We're all on different paths. Some people are born with money. You can't help that. Some people make a lot of money through everyone wanting to buy their product. You can't help that. I'm not jealous of anybody. I want everybody to do well. It's just, I look at the state of things, right? And there's no perfect system. I'm not saying I have the whole answer. The answer is you're gonna have to make less money. But like, I don't have an answer that they would like or implement, you know? I guess my thing is this: if we want to help the workers as much as possible, bodies get put on the line when they try to meet these goals, right? It's one of the things that they're protesting, one of the things that they're striking against is that they have to put their bodies on the line to get things to us, the consumer, right? When we order, because for us, it's just a click. For them, it's their body, it's their livelihood, it's their life sometimes. And I think the only way to fix this, at least temporarily.
At Wayfair, we're game for every style.
Let's play charades. I'll act out my favorite chair. Got it. All right, ready?
Yep.
Is to bring back like 2013 Black Friday. Like I think rather than putting it all on them, we gotta get out in the streets and we gotta start beating the ever-living shit out of each other for the products that we want, that are supposedly on sale, right? Black Friday is a shell of itself, and it is unacceptable. Most of it happens online, which is disgusting, right? We need to get these prices down, and actually down. I don't mean the thing that like Walmart does sometimes where it's the same price and they put it back the next day and they made you think it was lower because of the day. I'm talking about actually marketably lower, right? And then we have to start training in August. Okay? We need to start practicing, maybe even with family. Bring the family. Let the family come early, all right? Throw some bows, right? Make sure that like grandma's shuffle is good when she's trying to get through people. Make sure that the youngest brother can really handle that offensive line that you're gonna need to create to get to the register, all right? Make sure his tackle is good. And we need to get back in stores the way that it used to be. One of the problems is Amazon's too powerful. They wouldn't be too powerful if we started shopping again at the stores that we shopped at before Amazon, right? One of the other things is that, you know, that dopamine hit that you get when you buy the thing and then the thing comes the next day. I'm not saying you don't deserve your dopamine hits. I'm just saying it's a much stronger dopamine hit to knock the hell out of somebody for the TV that you want. This is America. You gotta earn your dopamine. Okay? The amount of strangers that we used to have, America used to come together to be divided for one day. Used to wrap that wrist around the throat of a neighbor. And you used to sink that choke in tight. A choke that would make John Jones proud. A choke that would mean that your family got to play the board game Sorry that night. Because you went in and you choked until you saw a little bit of blue. Just a touch. Just so you knew they wouldn't fight anymore, and then you let them go, and you didn't drop them. You're not a monster. You placed them down gently. It was the next person running up that stepped on their chest. It is the American way to build community through violence. Okay? We used to do it. We used to get in there. We used to make it messy. You know? You would have like, you'd have a couple scrapes, you didn't know where they came from. You know what I mean? You'd have a whole cut on your arm and you'd be like, huh, makes sense, but I don't know when it happened. But, I don't know, I'm bad at giving gifts, but I hope that everyone striking for Amazon gets what they want for Christmas, genuinely. I do, like... I'm bad at giving gifts because all I can offer is jokes.
This isn't the color I want. But it's the color I need. No, it's not. I don't even think it goes together. Maybe if I make it darker, it'll...
Hello, Mark Barton here from Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012.
To this weird argument around the word that's distracting from the thing that actually bothers people. Does that make sense?
How do I make this darker?
You know what I'm saying? So then I'm now having to give examples of me being racist to prove my point. We're still in the Denny's. We're still...
Yeah, that was never
gonna
work.
Because I think they're worried about me, right? So then they won't, because I'm being too loud. And so then I'm like, no, I can be and have been racist, and I have to take account of when it happens. I take accountability for both my thoughts and my actions, what I say to people, because we're all people. We're all trying to find a base level of understanding and kindness towards each other. So then I have to take accountability for when I do make someone feel bad, right? And whether that thing is whatever, justified in the moment because of how they were reacting to me, or completely unjustified based off a preconceived notion. I have to take stock of this. I have to take responsibility for myself. It doesn't matter that there are other disenfranchised people out there. I can't scapegoat them to act however I want to act, right? So then I was giving an example of me being racist. Okay, I'm not saying this is right, it's just how I am, and I'm trying to change, remember that. But I look at my white friend, okay, I feel, when I see my white friends struggle in the sun, I don't really care, that is racist though, because it's an entire group where I'm like, then do better. Like, it's like,
It's still wet.
that's not right. That's not right. You know what I mean? But I look at white people struggling in the sun the way I imagine, not calling anybody out, but it's the way I imagine they look at black people when we like can't get along, right? It's like, it's not really my problem, is it? Do better, I guess. You know? No, it's tough because it's like, I don't know, I'm liberal, but I'm not like liberal. Like, still working some stuff out. You know?
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free now. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. Click for eligibility.
I'll be like, wow, I'm killing it. I'm doing very well. And then in the distance past the laptop, you'll see a mouse scurry in the corner. You'll be like, I could do better. That's fair, right? But this is what bothers me, is that anytime you have a pest in the home, people act like it must be you. Like it has to be your fault, exactly. Expressly your fault, right? But it's like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm picking up after myself. I'm grabbing the clothes off the floor. I'm not leaving any food out. I'm vacuuming. I'm sweeping. There should not be a mouse in my... I'm not trying to have like a Disney Pixar experience, right? Like it's just... This happened, you know? And then, like, let's say, goodness forbid, let's say you actually had a mouse problem. And then you went to work. And you told somebody, yeah, I got a mouse in my apartment trying to get it taken care of. Your coworker would be like, oh... Oh, you sure you should be here? Like, you know what I mean? Like you inviting them over or something. It's very frustrating, you know? Because like, goodness forbid, once again, but let's say a different pest came in your home. Let's say a burglar broke in, right? And the next day you go to work and you tell someone, like, my home was burglarized last night. They would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's horrible. That's such a terrible thing. You must have been terrified. Are you okay? Is everything all right? They would show compassion. They'd have empathy. They wouldn't be like, ugh. I guess that's just how you were raised, huh? Right? Do you see the difference? It's very frustrating because, like, I'll give you an example. When I lived in Chicago, right, I had a mouse in my apartment. I had lived there 2 years, no mouse, and I finally had a mouse in my apartment. Now, I lived in an apartment complex that was near some other ones, and a bit south of our apartment complex was a building that had been condemned for humans, but it was a mouse mansion, right? Like it was, that's where they were. That was the spot, right? And everybody knew it. And eventually the city tore down the building and they took down this ratatouille tenement. And obviously the mice were like, where should we go? Probably next door, right? And so for the first time ever, right, I had a mouse in my apartment. But the way that I found out was horrible because I had a friend over. You know? And so my friend and I are chilling, and then this mouse, he doesn't scurry along the wall and then turn the corner like they're supposed to, right? This mouse walks out in front of us, coming from what I can only assume was a nap. Because this mouse had the nerve to walk out and stretch. On the rug, getting a deep stretch too, really bouncing with it as he moved. You know, like when your puppy wake up, you know what I'm talking about? And they put that other foot in the air. They really getting that whole back leg going. And the worst part about this happening in this moment is that when you tell your friend that, wow, I've lived here 2 years and I've never had a mouse, this is the first mouse I've ever seen, you sound like a liar, right? Because if this is the first mouse you've ever seen in this apartment, why does he seem so comfortable around you? Why is he stretching the back leg like he pays bills once in a while? Why is he getting so easy going, letting that back pop like he pays rent every once in a while? And so I was like, you know, clearly I gotta take care of it. So I called the landlord who calls the exterminator. And one of the frustrating things, I'm actually glad it went down this way. Because usually when you call an exterminator, that's when the pests in your home want to act right. As soon as you call the exterminator, that's when they're like, oh, you got company. I wouldn't dream. Oh, so landlord calls an exterminator. Exterminator comes the next day, right? I open the door for the exterminator. He takes about 2 steps in, and that's when the mouse that I saw yesterday runs past his foot, scurries along the wall, and then just turns the corner, right? But then my exterminator goes, ooh! And for the rest of the time he is in my home, he refuses to put his full foot on the floor. So he's just consistently walking around like, so how many you been seeing? Cause you know they say, oof, oof. He was poking his head indoors where he would go in the room and stuff. And he was like, you know, they say that if you see one, if you see one, there's 3 of them. I'm like, that is you.
We need stories. We need stories to understand ourselves. We're the only...
We can't both be scared, dog. Like, oh, it's devastating. You know what I mean?
This right there.
Cause I'm not immune. You know, I've done the same thing. You know, sometimes, you know, someone tell me they have a pest or something, but we gotta be more understanding. It's like nobody wants this in their home. But I had a friend one time back once again while I was living in Chicago, and he told me while we were out having lunch that he was having a bed bug problem. And when he said it, I was like, ooh. So how many you been seeing? And he was like, don't do that. You're not itching. I'm like, we don't know. We don't know. You know, it's important to humble yourself. Understand that you could be in any situation. You know, you really could. I don't care who you are in here. I don't care where you live, where you come from. Every single person, every one of you listening to me right now, all of us are 2 flies in the home away from seeming nasty. That's all it takes. 1 fly can happen to anybody, all right? 1 fly means you just opened a window. 2 flies. What do they see? What do they smell? What 2 flies means 1 fly went and got another fly. I was like, do I have a place for us? I was reading this story. You know how during Halloween, there's always this weird thing where they're like, don't just let anybody give your kid candy. There's people out here putting razor blades in apples, right? There's people out here putting drugs in the candy. Just really watch your child's candy, right? And you know how for the entirety of Halloween in America, that's been like a myth? Like, that's just not a thing that's happening, you know? Plus, if somebody give you an apple at Halloween, I'm never gonna find out a razor blade is in it. This apple is going straight back to them through their window. If they get cut in the process, that's on them, you know? And as far as, you know, drugs in the candy, I mean, I don't know. Come on now. Even if that was happening, a child on drugs like acid is just the way a kid acts anyway. That's... Yeah, I mean, little cousins I've had that walked up and told me a story that I've only heard again from a college friend who was deeply on acid. Like, that's... Adults on acid and children just operate at the same frequency, you know what I mean? Telling you stories about animals that don't exist and stuff. It's like, all right. Extra hyper, yeah, you know, check. Well, most people who babysit like a 5 or 6 year old are dealing with the same sort of struggles as a drug crisis center, you know what I mean? Over here running around, I can't find you half the time. You have a little bit of sugar, you can't stop shaking, you won't go to sleep. If anything, drugs might slow a child down. But I bring it up because in New Zealand, there were about 60 pieces of candy that were donated to this food bank, so it did go out via the food bank, and the pieces of candy were meth, right? And they were just like meth, and they were like pure meth. Like it was like the methy Jolly Ranchers meth. Like I can't express enough how much this was just meth, right? And they said that, you know, they've been doing everything they can to recover all the pieces. They put out a warning and everything. And the company, they contacted the company that it was wrapped in as a hard candy of and stuff. But most of the people that tried this meth hard candy spit it out immediately because they were like, it's just nasty. It's just real bitter. It doesn't have the oomph to it, right? Like, if anything, it's too pure. There's not enough sugar in the... Which is for the best. That's good, because apparently this little hard candy of meth had 300 doses of meth in it, which is terrifying, right? I'm glad that it was very nasty. People spit it out immediately and stuff. And what's crazy is that, okay, this is a part of the story that I wasn't fully sure if I was reading it right when I read it, but basically some people who had some sort of like adverse effects, like feeling a little nauseous or a little like jittery, because it's meth candy, so they were feeling a little jittery after they had a taste, even though they spit it out, 300 doses and a little hard candy, right? But they called the food bank and told them like, hey, some of that candy making me feel weird, right? So then some of the staff at the food bank also tried the candy. Which feels like a weird way to test for drugs, you know what I mean? It was like, I don't know, these hard candies might be, they might be like condensed mushrooms. It's like, well, only one way to find out. And then the staff also spit out the candy immediately because it just, you know, I can't imagine meth is delicious. And they said that they exhibited some, you know, some adverse effects, feeling a little, you know, little stomach ache, little jittery, little disoriented and stuff. And so they're trying to get to the bottom of it. But, I don't know, it low-key feels like the candy company was just kind of trying it out, you know what I mean? Like, just to be like, we gotta do something, all right? We're falling behind Starburst. We're falling behind Nerds. We can't keep up. We gotta mix it up a little bit.
This is how to get in shape fast. The best way to boost your metabolic rate and get in shape is not keto.
Whether I'm like reading reviews of things or just like falling down different rabbit holes online, it is apparent that we have a deep problem, everybody, with like oversharing online. I know so much about people that I'll never meet. That feels crazy. You know what I mean? And it's to our detriment, you know? Like, that's us. Like, we're gonna have to explain to our grandkids what Twitter was. When we're like grandparents, we're gonna have to sit our kids down and be like, yeah, you know, when I was coming up, there were people who would just tell everybody what they thought without anyone asking. And ruin their own life. You know what I mean? They would just wake up and be like, I don't need a job today. And then they would just admit things that they could have kept in their head. You know? Because you watch a lot of it happen, especially like when somebody, because it could happen to anybody. When anybody's like just going through the internet backlash of a day. Maybe you said something, maybe you did something, maybe you were caught on camera somewhere or something like that. And then even when a person tries to defend themselves, it's too far gone. And then even if you do a good job of defending yourself, and even if the thing isn't what people thought it was, that never rises to the level of the initial thing, right?
So
And so, you know,
Get out.
it just feels like a lot of